How do you create and send a shipment to Amazon for Amazon FBA? One of the biggest headaches that most sellers have when trying to send products to Amazon. Now, me personally, I have something called a prep center which does this, and I've made a video on prep centers, so if you want to watch that, then go for it. But if you're someone who is going to prep themselves for whatever reason, here is a step-by-step on how you can ship your products to Amazon without any mistakes. Let's get straight to it. So before we actually do a shipment, let's talk about essential equipment. So what equipment do you need if you are going to send a shipment to Amazon? Well, number one, you need 27 upwards labels. Okay, a lot of people will say to get a thermal printer and thermal labels, but I wouldn't do that when you start. I would do this method that I'm about to do, which is get yourself a normal printer, and I'll put all of the links into the description. For example, get a printer like a Canon printer from Argos or even a HP printer from Amazon, and then purchase label paper. There's two sets of label paper that you need. The first one is the label paper that essentially you stick onto your product, which is 27 labels per A4 sheet, and you're gonna buy that from Amazon for about £9. The second sheet of labels that you need is a A4, 2 labels on an A4 sheet, which essentially are your box labels and are gonna go onto your box that you ship to Amazon. So those are the three most important things, the printer and then the 2 labels, okay? Now, there's other things that you need as well, right? You need a weighing scale. You can use a standard weighing scale that you weigh yourself on, that can be fine. You need scissors, you need measuring tape. Boxes is something that you kind of need, but you don't need. For example, if you buy a product, you can just send it back in the same box, right? But if you can't do that for whatever reason, go to your local supermarkets like Sainsbury's, go to any big retailers like B&M, for example, Argos, and ask them for spare boxes, and they should give you some of the stuff that's in sort of the scrapyard, and you can take those boxes. Alternatively, ask friends and family. After that, you need normal clear tape, for example, and then you may need brown tape or black tape to essentially secure your boxes. After that, people say you need things like fragile labels, heavy warning stickers, caution. Don't do none of that. What you can actually do, and I'll go through it with you, is you can just use Sharpie pen to write on the box, like heavy, for example, or fragile. You can do those types of things. Okay, so don't overbuy for no reason. And the last thing you may need are either mailing bags or poly bags. So mailing bags are essentially like gray bags where you will put multi-packs. So if you have 2 or 3 products which counts as 1 unit, so let's say a pack of 2, and you have to ship them together, and we'll go through that. You need like a mailing bag. It's cheaper to do a mailing bag, or if you have a liquid that you need to like secure, like a shower gel that isn't got a double tape over it. So for example, if you were to open the lid, it would essentially come out. If it's got a sort of seal on it, then you don't need to put it in a poly bag, but if it doesn't, then you may need to put it in a poly bag, and a poly bag is a clear bag that essentially you put your products in. So that's pretty much everything that you need to start sending stuff off, and I've attached all of the things to the right and the left of me, and also in the link in my bio. And now all you need to do next is purchase those and have that ready before your product arrives. And actually, one more final thing, bubble wrap is quite useful as well, so make sure you have some of that. Let's get straight into the part of actually sending items now, and how each item will differ and how to prep them differently. So I'm going to show you 2 types of products, and the first is a product that is essentially boxed and sort of packaged already. So like a perfume like this. Now this already has this seal around it, which is perfect. It's already in a box, and in this condition you do not need to do anything. All right, it's already in a box, so you don't need to put it in a poly bag, none of that. Yeah, it's already sealed. Does that make sense? If imagine you bought the perfume and there was no seal, so for example it was not in a box and it didn't have this seal around it, then maybe you would wrap it in some bubble wrap and put it in a poly bag. Cool, but most of the time that's not going to be the case. Okay, most of the time when you do beauty items essentially are already boxed, and most of the items you're going to buy for Amazon FBA will already be in a box, like an individual box. All you need to do is just put a label on top of it, right? So this takes us then to our first point, which is how would you prep an item that is boxed already? All you do is you get your 27 sheet label, you put that into the printer, and then what you do is you are going to stick that onto the product. Okay, so let me show you how that's done. Now, as you can see, here are our labels, and as you can see, we have these small labels here, and all we do is we peel one of these off, and essentially when we put this into the printer, and I'm going to show you on the Amazon app, it will already create the barcodes for us, and then we simply take it off like that and then stick it. And where do we actually stick the product? So this is the important thing that people ask. Always look for like a clear area. So you see here how it's clear. You know, this is quite important. You don't really want to stick it on the brand of the item. People might want to give it as a gift. You could stick it there as well on the barcode, but alternatively just stick on a blank space. Now, one thing that people actually ask is, what if the product is actually too small to label? So for example, like a pen. Again, what you do in that instance is you'll probably put it into a poly bag and then label the poly bag. Okay, so anytime you put a product in a poly bag, let's say this was loose, okay, what I would do is I'd have my poly bag here, as you can see. And I will put the product inside the poly bag. And again, like I said, with this one we won't, but imagine it was a shower gel, it was something that was too small. Put it into the poly bag, fold it over, and label the poly bag, okay? And then the customer will rip it all open. So there you can just label wherever on the poly bag, okay? So this is the first step, how to label the product. And then you just do this with all your products. Again, you either put it in a poly bag or you keep it in its original packaging. And the last way is if you have a multi-pack. So imagine now we got 2 of these products. What we're gonna do with 2 of these products is you can either put it in a poly bag, but I like to use mailing bags because they're cheaper. You can put them into the mailing bag together and put them inside there, wrap it up, and then stick the label on the outside of the mailing bag, just how we've done it before. That is how you're gonna prep your products using the barcode.
So everyone, what we are going to do now is we are going to start the shipment process. And how this works is essentially you wanna go to the, blur this out, you wanna go to the 3 lines at the top, inventory, and manage all inventory on your Amazon Seller Central. Alternatively, if you can't find that, just type in manage inventory on the search bar and essentially it will come up like this and you just click manage inventory. Okay, now what you want to do here is you want to then go onto one of your products, scroll to the right and click the 3 dots and click send or replenish inventory. Okay, now once we have done this, this is now where we start the label process, so labeling the products. Now, sometimes it might here say prep and labeling details required. It will also ask you to put an address in here. So put in your address up there. And then you always want to do individual units. It will ask you for prep or labeling details. Click it and then just put no prep needed or whatever prep that it says it is. You want to make sure that the unit labeling is by seller as well. And then what you want to do, you want to put the number of units, the expiry date, which should be on the product. Alternatively, if it's not, you just want to find one online, or you just want to make it up. To be honest with you, just put a year in advance, as long as it's not like a grocery item or something like that. Like if it's a pen, for example, well, it doesn't really expire and it shouldn't really have an expiry anyway. But as you can see, then we click ready to pack. And this is where we print our initial labels, which are the SKU labels. Make sure that it's 27 up, 63, 29 by A4. Standard formats as well. We're not using thermal printing. Remember, we're getting label paper, so we're not doing that. And then you click print all and it will come up with this label sheet here. And you double click this. And as you can see, here are your labels and you simply just print them off. All right, cool. Move to now the box.
Next step, put your items in a box, right? So this is now where we're going to use our box. Maybe that the product arrived in, for example. Imagine the box or the products arrived in this box. We can just reuse the same thing, right? And this is now where we are going to put the items in the box. So for example, imagine it's a single one. We're going to just put it in the box and we're going to package the box. And in this situation, if you are going to put stuff, in my opinion, just put some bubble wrap. It doesn't even matter what the product is. The reason I say it is because if for whatever reason, you know, delivery drivers, some of you are probably delivery drivers as well, and just throw stuff around, right? Just put a little bit of bubble wrap like this at the bottom of the box, okay? It will just make life a bit easier. And in that way, when you put your product inside, you know, it's nice and protected, okay? And just put it in a bubble wrap. Now, if for example, your box isn't full, so imagine I put 5 of them in there, but there's so much space in a box. Well, put some like essentially rubbish in the box. You can put bits of paper, you can put other boxes inside the box and make the box basically full. That's another way to do it as well. So don't worry if your box isn't full and like, oh, I need a bigger box, I need a smaller box. Don't worry about any of that. So in terms of actually restrictions, Amazon don't allow you to send boxes of a certain size. Now it used to be 60, 30, 30. They've now actually increased it to 91.4 centimeters. So you can have a box that's 91.4 centimeters on any side, right? Before it was 63, 63, 63, not 63, 40. And now it can be 90, 90, 90, which is mad, all right? And in terms of your weight, it can't go above 23 kg, okay? And if you do, Amazon will sort of like, they won't ban you, but they'll just basically give you a warning. So you wanna be careful. Try not to let it go over 23 kg, okay? Try and keep it at 20 as a sort of minimum, and then you just use another box. Now, you're gonna put your items in a box, and then this is where you're gonna tape it up. So you literally just close it and then tape it up. So as you can see here, previously there was sort of brown tape on the box. You're just gonna reseal that, okay? So that's how you pack the box. Now, as I'm gonna show you, there is actually ways where you need to send items in multiple boxes, which is essentially where sometimes it will say, how many boxes do you have? Then if you have 2 or 3, then you just do it a certain way. So I'm just gonna show you that in the next clip through the screen recording, okay?
Now, once we've done this, this is where we now put our products into a box. Now, sometimes we'll say everything fits in one box and we'll just put the dimensions. or we will need multiple boxes. So if we need multiple boxes, you want to enter through a web form. And this is usually for stuff that is 10 boxes, for example, maximum, no more than 10. If it's more than 10, use scan and pack instead. But for our case, let's say we've got 2. Now, this is where you want to put in the units of each box. So box 1 would be 5, and then box 2 would be 5. Now, the kg might be the same. Let's say 2 kg and 2 kg. And where you need to make sure you differentiate is you need to add 2 different box dimensions. And if both boxes are the same, what you want to do is you want to just differentiate them by 1. Reason being is because otherwise Amazon will start basically bugging out. Because look, if you do 40 by 40 by 40 on both, and then you click here, so each box, remember, is like an L shape. So this box goes with that weight and that tick and that dimension. This one goes with that box, and that box. Yeah, so like the L shape. If you click it, do you see how it then categorizes them as both? Whereas if you change it, you can select 1 for each. Okay, and then if you want to add another box for whatever reason, you realize halfway through, oh, you've messed it up, add another box here, and as you see, add another box, and then add another dimension, and then just click it again. Okay, and then you confirm your packing information. Now, sometimes what happens is you will confirm your packing information like this, and Amazon will essentially say, oh, this doesn't seem accurate. As you can see, warnings, right? Don't restart it, just click confirm and continue, because they don't always know how much it's going to weigh and all those things. So just ignore that, okay?
And the last way of actually sending a shipment is a pallet. So a pallet's this, where you have, as you can see, something like that. If you even show them that, that's a pallet where essentially you can put like 10, 15 boxes on there, and you can ship that off to Amazon. For example, if you have a load of items of the same item, it's quite good to do that. And they charge you, I think it's about like £60 for a pallet, 50, £60. Whereas per box here, you're looking at maybe £2, £3. So this is fine when you're doing small volume, but when you do big volume, you can do pallets as well. But yeah, focus on this. This is the box that you're going to be sending off. And now I'll show you how you can do multiple boxes. And then let's actually go into creating a label and the 2 types of ways to create a label, because there's 2 different ways to do it. So now we need our 2 labels on our A4 sheet. I've already peeled one of these off, but we'll get 2 of these. And these are essentially going to be your box labels, okay? And they're going to stick on here. Now, actually, if you don't even buy these, it's not a big deal. You can actually just print it on normal paper, cut it out with scissors, and sellotape it on. That's another way. If you ever run out of these, I used to do that. It's a little trick. But obviously, it's just a bit easier to do it like this. Time is money. You don't want to waste too much time prepping stuff. And then you just stick it on the box. Now, this is where it gets confusing, right? There is different ways to send off products. So if you're sending off a standard product, okay, a normal product, all that will happen, and I'll show you on the screen recording, is you put in your box dimensions, you then select a shipping date, and you pay for the shipping via Amazon, and then you accept the charges, and then what you do is you book a collection, okay? And I'll show you that as well, how to book a collection, because someone will actually come to your house and pick up the parcel from you, or you can actually do a drop-off. So you can go to a UPS drop-off point, which you can type up online, and I'll show you that again, and you can deliver the box there. But if your item is a dangerous goods item, so dangerous goods, it flags up when you use seller amp, or you should know if your product is dangerous goods, okay? Perfumes are dangerous goods. What will happen is you will only be able to select, and again, I'll show you this part on the screen recording, you have to ship the item separately, okay? You won't pay for it via Amazon, and Amazon will only give you 1 label. They'll only give you the Amazon label, but they won't give you the second UPS label. Whereas when you do a standard shipment, you get both labels and you can send it off, you're ready to go. So now the next part that I'm going to show you is the difference between the 2, and a normal shipment on what that looks like, and then a dangerous goods shipment. But in terms of demonstration, this is everything that you need to do. You'll just stick this label on there, and then your product is ready to go. So that is everything in terms of demonstrating, and you can just copy this and refer to it. Let's sort of go into the screen sharing point now on how to send off the shipment and complete it as a whole.
Now we get onto the confirm a shipment part. Now what we want to do is we want to choose a ship date. So let's say we're shipping it on Tuesday. We will choose it on Tuesday. And then this is where I mentioned things differentiate, right? Well, if you're sending a normal product, essentially it will say UPS, non-partner, Amazon partner carrier, and DPD. Don't choose DPD, choose UPS. If the product is a dangerous goods item, which you guys will understand when you do the shipment, this won't come up, this won't come up, it will only say this. And what you want to do here is choose DPD, UPS, or Parcel Force, okay? And I can actually make a video on how to send a dangerous goods if you leave a comment and a like. If you want me to do that, just comment to make a dangerous goods video. Depending on how well this one does, I will make that video for you guys as well, okay? Now, on here, we have UPS. Always select UPS. And then what you do, you simply accept the charges and confirm shipping. And this is now going to print you your outer label. Okay. Now, once you print your outer label, this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that it's 99 by 139. Okay. And I'll show you now. It will generate your labels. And as you can see here, boom. So it's generate the labels. You want to choose 99 by 139 and you want to click print. And as you can see, here is your label and you'll print this off. Again, blur this all out. And this will give you your Amazon label and also your UPS label. Now, if you do a dangerous goods shipment, which again, we'll go through maybe in another video, you will only get one Amazon label, okay? Because you have to do the other label separately. But here, and this is why you just do it through Amazon, you get both labels, and this is the one that goes on the box. Now, let's talk about how to actually schedule a collection for your box or for your shipment or drop it off. What you want to do is on the label, as you can see here, we have a tracking number on UPS. And what you want to do is you want to insert this tracking number onto schedule a parcel collection on UPS. Now, what you want to do is you want to say you have pre-printed labels, and essentially you want to type in your shipment label that I said. Now, always put a comma after the label so it essentially like checks itself. And another tip, if you're sending 5 boxes, only put one of the tracking numbers. They will pick all of them up. You just only need to put one. Okay. And then later down here, you can select how many packages you have. This is where you fill out your details, the collection information and location. And then when you want them to come and collect it, which is great, right? If you're at home at this period, you can get them to collect it at that time. Alternatively, if you want to do a drop off, you simply just click drop off your parcel here and enter your address, and they will show you collections or places that you can do a drop off. Okay. But this is essentially what you need to do to complete your shipment process. And once it's done, that's all you need to do. And the shipment is ready to be collected by UPS and then on its way to Amazon. Now, it takes 1 week at least for it to all check in on Amazon. Again, I can make another video on that, on what happens when your items arrive, how to get sales, but this is the process that you need to follow. And if you have any issues, one thing you can do, you get to cancel your shipment between 23 to in 24 hours. I'm going to cancel this shipment because I don't want the charge of £2 and move on and cancel the shipment, and then it completely cancels and you get your money back as well.
Thank you all for watching this video on how to do a shipment. I wish someone made this for me because shipments were just the longest part of my sort of journey. If there's anything more that you want me to address about shipments, please do leave a comment. I'm happy to make another video. Secondly, if you found this useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and also share it to a friend who is doing Amazon FBA. Share it to other sellers who are in need of help. Use this video as your one-stop shop for how to send a shipment to Amazon FBA. Take care as always, and I'll see you all soon.